In this video, I'm going to share with you how to create a beautiful bob on those clients with really thick or coarse hair. You know those clients that end up complaining because the hair looks like a bell or the shape of the haircut looks like a bell or a mushroom. This is a client of mine that I've been doing for quite a few years, and she has that really thick hair and the coarse texture that seems to expand when it dries. So be sure to watch this entire video so that you can really catch some really great tips on how to eliminate that bell effect in the haircut. As always, in all of my haircuts, I always map out the haircut first. In this instance, I have parted the head off into 2 panels in the back and 2 in the front. I've created a 4 diagonal section just below the occipital area in the nape area, about 1.5 inches up. I choose to remove all the hair here in the nape area where she has very different growth patterns. This technique, by removing the hair here about 1 inch up to 2 inches, it's going to vary on each client depending on the growth patterns. If you have those clients that have troublesome cowlicks in this area or their hair is just extremely thick, this quick tip will prove to be very beneficial for you in alleviating the bell look in those clients. Or if they have a very low hairline, this proves to be beneficial as well, because you know as the hair grows, that hair tends to grow out longer, and then it kind of changes the shape as the hair grows. I used a thinning shear, by the way, on that technique because I wanted the hair to be softer. You can use clippers or scissor over comb, whatever your choice is. Here, I've chosen to use a razor as well. Here, I'm just defining the shape here, cleaning up the stray hairs that grow down the neck, and just giving a nice, clean line. Little tip on a razor, using a razor, I always use a very fresh razor when I'm cutting against the neckline and making sure that I keep the neck wet. Now, moving up the back of the head shape, I'm mirroring the forward diagonal section that I created to start, and I will mirror it continuing up the back of the head. Now, on this haircut, I am choosing to disconnect the length from where I removed the hair in the nape area. You can, however, cut right on that line if you so desire. Here, if you notice, a quick tip here is I am mirroring my fingers with the diagonal that I've created for my parting. That's just a quick tip that I wanted to share with you that keeps you on point with the final geometric shape of your haircut. It just keeps you on track. Here, I'm just using a 6-inch blade. When I'm cutting, I'm mirroring my fingers with the diagonal that I created in my parting, and there again, mirroring my fingers with the scissors as I'm cutting. That's just another way to keep your hair cutting on point. I like to use a 6-inch blade just simply because the less times you have to open and close the blade, the less cleanup you're going to have in the end. If you're curious about the clips, I'm using a brand by Framar. I really like those clips because they keep the hair really nice and tight. They hold a lot of hair, yet they're not super bulky. Now, just a little tip for you as well, back on removing the bulk in the nape area. If you have a client that has hair that grows lower on the neckline, the way I did this by removing the nape hair and then cutting about a 1/2 inch below that and disconnecting it, it proves to be very beneficial in their grow out of their haircut. As we all know, the hair grows on the neck there. It's going to peak out quicker if it grows lower on the neckline. It just keeps your haircut looking cleaner longer. Now, as I move up the head shape, I take the forward diagonal partings on the head shape, and I will continue to do that on both sides. Notice when I'm working how cleanly I'm working. I think that's vital in being able to create beautiful precision haircuts and not getting lost. But, just a little point that I want to point out to you is that clients notice when you work cleanly like this. They feel more confident in your abilities when they see you work in a disciplined manner. Another key point I want to point out, I am sitting in a stool here so that I am more eye level with my work. Depending on what styling chair that you have that you're working behind, some of them do not go up really high. And being eye level with your work is really key in creating beautiful, consistent work and having less cleanup as well. And also, it's also better on your body. I'm coming up on 40 years now of doing hair, and I'm still doing it because I had a mentor that taught me good body and hand position when I'm cutting. It makes a really big difference. And by sitting on a stool and being eye level, I'm not bending over so much or contorting my body to be able to see where I'm cutting. Another thing to take note of is notice that the sections that I'm taking, they're just thick enough so that I can see my guide underneath. The finer the sections that you take when you're doing a bob or any precision haircutting, it just alleviates having any lines in the haircut and having less cleanup at the finish of your haircut. Now, this is another tip that I do on thick-haired clients. She does want a little bit of movement in her hair, but she doesn't want a lot of layering. So just by pulling the hair up from the head, pulling it straight up, I'm just cutting off that end point in the interior of the head shape. It's just a very light layer on the bottom. If you notice, watch how I pull it up. Everything from the parietal ridge down is falling out of my hands. I don't want to cut that, otherwise I'm going to lose the strength of the bob line on the perimeter. I just want to remove a little bit of that surface hair to lighten it up a little bit and to keep, this is where you start removing that bell or mushroom shape. In my bob haircuts, I like to create the shape of the perimeter of the haircut and any type of layering that I'm going to do in the hair, and then dry it. And I think it's important to pay attention to some of the key points of blow drying here. I'm using a Dyson blow dryer, yes I am, but I am using a nozzle on it. And if you notice, I'm using a wrapping technique with my fingers, just using the head shape to form the hair and start smoothing it. I'm just using my fingers and following my fingers out with my nozzle. One of the things I am being aware of is I don't want a lot of volume in the hair because I am going to go back through and do the fine detailing and the debulking when the hair is dry. And if I've created too much volume in the hair, then I'm not going to be able to see the true natural fall of the hair. And by using my fingers, I'm just able to really get the moisture out of the hair and start getting the hair to smooth, getting the hair shaft smooth and laying flat against the head shape. Here I've decided to use a flat brush, and I'm just here again wrapping the hair using the head shape to form and smooth the hair shaft. Notice I am being very careful not to create volume in the hair. Once I've removed enough weight, I'm going to use the base of my brush, that's a nice flat surface, and just start smoothing and collapsing the hair shape or the hair shaft. Now notice I'm not elevating the hair. I'm just kind of pulling it out from the head and just following the brush with the nozzle so that I can get the outside of the hair shaft smooth. And it's like ironing. I'm just ironing her hair. I'm just smoothing it out so I have a nice clean surface to work on when I'm going through and fine tuning and debulking my bob haircut. Now here is a tip when you're blow drying the nape. I'm just lifting the hair up and allowing the nozzle of the dryer to blow down on the hair. I'm not getting volume here. I'm just getting the hair dry in the nape. I want to point that out because if I took my brush and put it in at the nape and pulled it out, I'm going to get volume in the nape, right? Because that hair is so short. So by using the brush to lift the hair up in the top of the hair and allowing the nozzle of the blow dryer to blow the air directly onto the nape, you're not getting any volume. Here's a better view of it for you. See how I'm not getting volume, I'm just using the force of the air to get the hair smooth in the nape area. Here's a good visual of following your brush out with the nozzle of the blow dryer. And just a little side note for you, just by, when you're going through this, talk to your clients and teach them how why you're using your brush, how you're using it, and the purpose of it. It'll really help them be able to duplicate your work at home. Okay, in this fine-tuning portion of it, I just really want to start kind of removing a little bulk in the exterior of the head shape, but I don't want to create any lines, so I'm just pulling it out. And if you notice, there's just a little point there that's left from the previous layering that I had done, and I'm just going straight in with my shears and just breaking that point up. That's it. I'm not taking it completely off. You can see that it still has a nice roundness to it in the exterior, a nice beautiful shape, but it softens it because it can get so thick there with those thick, coarse-haired clients. And I do, if you notice, I pull it out and then I round my fingers. That's just something that I do. It just ensures that I do not cut a straight line there. I still want to keep it nice and rounded. You can see how that just softens the edge there. You can see the difference between each side on what it creates. It just creates a little bit of movement and softness in the haircut. See how I bend my fingers and just point cut around it? And by the way, just going straight in with your scissors gives you a lot softer edge. If you go in at an angle off to the side, you're going to end up seeing choppiness in the hair. I'm looking for really, really, really soft edge here. So by going straight in with your shears, you can see that it just takes the littlest bit and it just softens that edge. These are the little things that if you start using when you're working behind the chair, it's going to set your work apart. Now here, I'm just going in. Notice that I lift her chin up because here I want to make sure that I get those little points off around the edge. I can go super crazy on this. My clients always tell me. By lifting up and taking it section by section, see how I pull that up and let it slowly fall? That really helps you be able to see what part of the hair or the head shape that point is coming from. So I comb it down first to see, do I have any points? And I'll go in and just go in at a slight angle and just kind of point cut the point off around the perimeter that I see. Here I'm using my hand as a plate here because I just worry about cutting her chin or her neck. That's a nice little tip there. But see how I lift it up and then look at it and slowly drop it? That just helps me to be able to see where that hair is coming from and making sure that I'm not missing any little pieces. I'm doing the same in the back. Just by lifting that up, I have a better visual of where those little points are. See how when I clean that up, just the littlest bit, see how much nicer that looked? Now here is a debulking thing. I'm just going in and just point cutting out at the bend of the head, of the hair shaft. You just go in super quick with your shears, just using the very edge, very tip of your shears, and just kind of in a C shape, and you'll see me do it here again. I don't go past the first bend, and you're just, see how I lightly close it, and then as I'm moving down, I close it. It's just a very easy way to debulk and remove that bell shape and the mushroom shape that you can get on your thick-haired clients. I hope that these tips that I'm sharing with you, I really hope that you take them back to the salon and you use them behind the chair. Thanks for watching. Happy hair cutting, and remember, your work is not about you. It is about how you make your clients feel. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.